What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid-techno. And we're going to listen to another tune that I did actually react to on my old channel, just had to make sure I actually had the record out. And I do apologize to Luca. We will put you here with minimal fuss, hopefully. Maybe she's coming right back. But yeah, we're going to listen to a tune from the Sojourn label. This is a Polish acid-techno label started by, I think, a guy named Athar, a guy named Osmo, who appears on a number of the releases on the label, especially the early handful of records on Sojourn. And I believe there's one other person involved, and I'm blanking on who this is in the moment. They released a number of records, I think like 13, 14, 15, as well as one remix, like Sojourn remix vinyl, over the course of about a decade, though I don't think they've released anything in the last 4 or 5 years. Basically from like 08 to about 18, there was essentially 1 to 2 releases every year. But like I said, I think it's been dormant for a little while. There is also some part of the catalog of Scythe that is digital only. I only have, with one exception, the vinyl releases. And indeed, the exception will be coming in a video right after this because it's another remix of this tune. Though my understanding is, and I'll talk about this more when we get there, there are a handful of vinyl copies of this other remix, which for most people is digital only. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to a tune by Syndrome originally, Syndrome being Steve Clark from Australia, I believe Melbourne, which is, this track is called MFT. And it's something fucking techno, but it's not actually Mother, it's Melbourne. Though I do think some people, upon hearing this without, knowing the context of where the original producer is from and so on, might just think that it's saying motherfucking techno, but it's actually Melbourne fucking techno. In any case, the original by Syndrome is fantastic. There's a Dave the Drummer remix on here. Everyone knows Henry Cullen, Dave the Drummer, one of the greatest acid techno producers in the London style, and in also not only acid techno but regular techno and a number of other styles. But the point is, normally on a record like this, the Dave the Drummer remix would be the one. And indeed, there's another record on Sojourn called Drug Addict by Osmo. I mentioned one of the founders of the label, Polish acid techno producer, and the Dave the Drummer remix on that record is the marquee track. Dave the Drummer remix here is fantastic, but I actually prefer one of the other remixes. It's by someone named Chris Mate. Now, I believe Chris Mate is like an anglicized version of his name. I think it's like Christian, and the surname is, there's more letters involved than just Mate. Nevertheless, he goes by Chris Mate. He also goes by Dethria when he produces drum and bass and jungle music. And there is a drum and bass remix of MFT, again, not on this vinyl, and for most people not on vinyl at all, though I have a couple friends who are from Poland, and one of them, Artur, has a vinyl, I assume white label copy of the Dethria mix. Nevertheless, we're going to listen to the Chris Mate remix, and it's called the Chris Mate Reconstruction. And again, I like the Syndrome original, it's fantastic. I like the Dave the Drummer remix, it's brilliant. But I do think the Chris Mate Reconstruction is the best version of this tune in acid techno format. It's bright, it's got euphoric, bubbly acid, but it's also got drive and percussive hit, so it's just a really good mix and a really good configuration of this particular tune. So this is on Sojourn, again, Polish acid techno label. I've always enjoyed the logo. I used to have a shirt with the label or the logo on there. It's, I've had a lot of acid techno shirts over the years that just disappear, or maybe they have like a rip somewhere and then it's like, well, I guess I can't really wear this anymore. So I don't have the Sojourn shirt anymore, unfortunately, but I'm a big fan of the label. Like I said, I think it's sort of, at the very least, on hiatus or hibernation, if not, properly defunct, so to speak. But big shout to the Sojourn people, because they put out high quality. As I said, the first couple releases are more Osmo and the people involved in the label, and then by like the 4th release or so, you start to see a lot of the big names in London acid techno, like Chris Liberator and Sterling Moss and so on, begin to appear on the releases. In any case, this is Syndrome, MFT, the Chris Mate Reconstruction. Do we have a year on here? I have a kitten on my lap, so it's hard to get up and check. I'm not seeing it here, but I'll put it in the video description. If I had to guess, what is this, number 7? What does it say here? Doesn't really say it. Oh, it's 8. Okay, so I would guess this is like 2013 or 14, something like that. In any case, let's get it. Syndrome, MFT, the Chrismate Reconstruction. Double hit. What I often call a creaking thing. That main acid riff reminds me of like the punk panel. It's simple but highly effective. Just keeps getting more layered, more lathered. High pitch layer. It's like you're lost in an acid maze or an acid labyrinth. But I do think the comparison to a punk panel tune is legit. Remover, maybe not so much Confusion. Confusion has a bit more to it, but yeah, it reminds me of Remover. The creaking
an edge tension, even in a breakdown. Maybe even more so in a breakdown. The oncoming train sort of sound. Collision imminent. It's like being in an acid wave pool, more than a labyrinth, maybe. It's just like... That creaking synth, you can hear it as crickets almost, like... It's not normally what I mean when I say acid crickets, which is when it gets really high-pitched and sharp and tight, but... Train noise back. That little pop, it's like a DJ thing. Like I do that at the end of measures with the not the gain, the channel level. I've never seen a producer do that like on the track. Tells me it's likely a DJ too. Again, the low groove driving it all. Those winds, upswell. And the creaking crickets all the while. My cat is like comatose. Reminds me, I need to react to because I don't think it's. I don't even think I reacted to it on my old channel. These guys did their own label called Techno Militia. I think there's only 2 releases on it. I have both of them. The first one I think made a really big splash. Second one maybe not quite as much, and I don't know, maybe that was part of why they didn't do a third one, but or maybe it was just, you know, the situation wasn't available anymore. Either way, the sort of title track on the first Techno Militia record, which I think is called We're a Techno Militia, I love that track. It's absolutely fantastic, and when it gets to the main drop, it's like, we do it our way, the Melbourne way. And so again, Melbourne fucking techno, I'm thinking, like, obviously, you know, there's a bit of a thriving, always underground. That's the thing about acid techno, no matter where you go, surely in Melbourne, just as in LA or in other places around the world, maybe to a lesser extent London, because I think maybe, you know, it's a bit bigger and it's sort of, you know, it's home turf than other places. But generally speaking, acid techno, it's one of those genres that's like an inch wide but a mile long. Like everywhere you go, not many people know about it, not many people care about it, but then you'll find there is a sub-scene and there's people who are really passionate about it and so on. So like I said, it does seem to be, no matter what continent you're talking with, perhaps the exception of Antarctica, yeah, there's always going to be some people somewhere who are into acid techno and who are all about it, even if on a larger view in that place, it's a very narrow and thinly followed genre. But yeah, once again, shout out to Steve Clark Syndrome for the original, shout out to Chris Mate for the incredible remix, and as I said, we're going to come back and listen to this same person give a very different treatment to this track, both in terms of the genre and the atmosphere and intensity of the tune, because again, this is acid techno. In a way, it's having it, but it's a light, kind of euphoric acid techno tune, and one that makes me feel bubbly and smiling, and you just be kind of grooving on the dance floor. The drum and bass remix by Chris Mate, but under his Dethria name, is a whole different ballgame. So we'll come back for that one. Let me know what you think of this. I apologize, Comatose Luca, but I am going to have to pick you up. Yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you next time. Peace. She's thinking about it.